So Mr. Harris was informed in July, September 12th, and then again on September 17th. I forwarded our September 12th email to Mr. Brown and just indicated that we would be advertising. And then on September 19th, again, I informed Mr. Harris about the bids opening October 1st. And he just replied to me, said that is fine. So Mr. Harris was informed, and so were Dr. Worthy and some other members of staff that we were bidding and going to receive bids on October 1st.
Okay, so just to surmise, so the information that I read in the email was not all accurate. Is that what you're saying?
So I think what's possible is you read just portions of emails.
No, I read the complete email and I read the communication because Mr. Harris was not satisfied at how the process went. So based on your statements, I'm just asking, was the email incorrect?
I would say the email must have been incorrect, or it was misinterpreted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right, you're welcome.
Any other questions or comments for Pannoni? Okay, Mr. Harris.
So thank you, Hugh, for that particular report.
You're welcome.
And I just want to respond to your last comments about me being incorrect. I absolutely agree with you that we had a discussion back in July. You stood right there where you're standing right now and laid out your whole plan before the council, how we were going to proceed. Between July and the day that the bid was advertised, I had received no communications from Pannoni that the specs had been put together, that the bid packets had been approved, and that that project was going out to bid. You did send me an email on Wednesday, September the 18th, when I was not in the office, and I was not in the office on Thursday the 19th, and I was not in the office on Friday the 20th, and you had made arrangements to post the bid with the clerk's office on that Sunday, and I was not aware that that project was going to bid at that particular time. So I respect your position that I was wrong, and if you including me in an email 3 days prior to you posting the bid as informing me, email that I did not receive or even read until after the posting occurred, well, then I guess technically you are correct. But I did not have any pre-knowledge of that being the bid date or that project being bid with those specs on that particular day.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Harris, is there any considerations you need from council today?
In regard to that particular matter?
Yeah, this matter or anything for the
No.
engineer? Okay. Deputy Mayor?
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
if we may, I do see Mr. Bobby Duckett in the back of the room.
Okay.
Can we ask him to come forth just
Yeah, I
to?
just want to make sure we close. Yeah, let's
Okay.
close this out. Okay,
Thank
thank you.
All right, great.
Thank you
Thank
so much.
All right, you're welcome.
Yes, Mr. Duckett can come up. Good evening.
I'm Bobby Duckett. I'm the theater manager for the Willingboro Performing Arts Theater. To recap from what just been said, the bid process had been spoken about. We have a vendor who presented all of the equipment to be considered for the upgrade. At no time did we know that that had to be a bid. So those documents have been sent since probably May or so. Mr. Harris has, you guys on the council have had. The company is not based in New Jersey. They are vendors of the equipment that we're doing. So the fact that an RFP would come out on Sunday and be due on Tuesday, which the document for the equipment that was submitted on August 1st was less than 30 pages. This RFP was over 207 pages, which would have taken just from a legal standpoint. If I owned the company, I'd want to read through that. There was no way to make that bid. Kevin Jackson, who is the owner of the company that supplied it. At the time for us, we thought that when we put the change in it affected no price. And so to Mr. Daughtry's point that he made earlier today, that he's still dealing with Levy to deal with the cost of the change order. There is no discussion of the cost. The cost match what was already in the bid, basically to the dollar, other than some structural situations that were talked about in the previous council meeting that said almost that I was bringing $800,000 of overages to this, which was not true, that we were ground supporting. So the bid increased by about $30,000 to do the ground support. With all of that said, Levy had purchased the equipment. So in that same conversation we had, the equipment that Levy had already bought, we were taking out of the proposal that we had readjusted because we were not hanging any of the equipment because of the cost of hanging stuff with the weights. So in effect, it doesn't feel where we are in the right place. And every conversation leads back to someone named Levy, who I've requested meetings with Jim Mullen for the last 8 to 10 weeks, never to have a meeting with him. So the process as we thought it was that the vendor that we bought with the pricing that was equal basically to the original pricing would be sold to Levy, and Levy would then install the equipment. Now, why would if when Levy bought the equipment originally, you guys had a Bose system. Bose did not have to on an RFP. Levy bought the equipment from Bose. So I mean, I don't know the legalness of why that change would be different than a new company, because here's a gentleman that came in with his company in good faith to bring the sound system that was correct for the building. And now at this point, he has to put a bid in, and he's not a New Jersey company, so he may not be able to get the bid at all, who was doing, making sure that we had everything that we need. So I'm a little confused about the process. Maybe some of it is legal for New Jersey and the state of New Jersey on the process, but some of it at the end of the day, if that was the case, I could have had that vendor do the things that had to be done in order to be a legal entity in New Jersey. Now, the fact that no one bidded on it means that I mean, I don't understand the scenario. So we're trying to get clarity because we've been going around and around with this and no pricing has changed. So again, part of Mr. Hughes' conversation when he said that he's getting with Levy to see what that will cost. Well, the bid was going out because the cost was agreed upon. So why can't we meet with Levy and find out what has to be done to get this moving forward? Because this is just a delay that, the 2 to 13 weeks to order the equipment, we can get around that. We can make that move faster. So that's where we are.
And Mr. Harris, from your position, what can we do to make sure it's a open, fair process?
So to clarify some of the things Mr. Duggar was speaking of, the reason that it had to go out to bid again, because what was spec'd initially to what Levy had bid on when he bid for the project was the system that was received and planned to be installed in the JFK Center. Because the equipment, it wasn't just a modification of the equipment, it was a complete set of new pieces, new equipment, new sound material. So Levy just can't go out and purchase that because that was not in line with what the bid spec was. And if he had done that, we would be in violation of the public contracts law because he bid and awarded a contract and now was allowed to install material in that was not initially bid on as part of the initial contract. So that was the reason that the township had to go back out to bid for that material. So at the very least, that component could be fair and open process and in line with the bidding process. Because although Levy is the contractor, it is actually the township that is purchasing the equipment. So that's why we did go out to bid. Mr. Doherty was correct. We did receive no bids. So therefore we have the ability, or really we need to go back out to bid again. And then if we receive no bids the second time, then we can go and directly contract with a vendor to supply and purchase the equipment. So the conversation that I had with our qualified purchasing agent today was to get in touch with Mr. Doherty to reestablish what the the documents are, set the new date, set a new publication date. We're going to try to wrap this up in another 10 days, go back out to bid, and then if there are no respondents again, then we will be able to contract directly with a vendor, purchase the equipment, and install the equipment.
Okay. Any other questions?
One more question. So the last time Dr. Worthy and I met with you, we discussed what other work had been going on while we waited for this process. Understanding that, we had roof repairs to make and so forth, but you did mention electrical could have been worked on.
Correct.
Where are we at with that process?
I'm not really sure. The last conversation that I had with Jim was that Levy wanted to wait till the roof was done before doing anything. So, at that point, the electrical and the other stuff that's going on in the building could be going on right now. Those things are not affected. The actual carpeting, the chairs going in place would have been affected if there was a major rainstorm, hurricane, or anything during the season. So I do understand that part. But the things that are actual construction wise in the room, in my opinion, could be going on. Again, I don't know where we are from a legal standpoint, but the conversation that I got back from Jim was that Levy did not want to move forward anything until they finished the roofing. So when we understood the roof was being done today, I guess in this time frame, somewhere in it now, when that we were told that was supposed to be on the 15th, but here we are at the 1st. So I'm kind of concerned about, as any contracting situation, you have multiple delays. And so we're also running into programming issues for 2025, because for the shows that we've been talking about in programming, I have to go ahead and start looking at contracts and the whole bit. So I don't want to start to deal with trying to program, and we're going to have continual delays where the first quarter of 25 may not be, the building may not be in use. Hoping not, but that is a real reality based on the track record we've been on right now.
Thank you.
Okay.
So thank you for that update.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
So just for the update, the solar panels were removed from the JFK Center. The roofing repairs have been done, and I believe Levy is on track to begin working again on October the 7th.
And with the solar panels, we were able to get those off with no cost. Okay, good. Okay, we continue with your,
So I just have
Updates.
a few brief items to just update the governing body on it in the community. Our inspections department, per usual, has been very busy. They have done 618 inspections between September 1st and September 23rd, the 23rd, I'm sorry, collecting $51,668 in revenue. There have been 59 trash and recycling receptacle violations that were issued to residents. 25 disabled and abandoned vehicles were issued violations, and then 8 fixograms, which are communications to the police department for abandoned and disabled vehicles located on the streets to be towed. Our DPW has been supportive in recreation with their departmental setups and some of their programs. They have also been doing a road work repair on Great Gabriel Lane and Glover Lane, and also have been working diligently to trim back the walkways as the school season got underway again, and on individual roads like Beverly, Rancocas, Dr. King Boulevard, Veterans Parkway, Sunset Road, and Charleston. Our fire and EMS department, they have been busy. On the 15th, they had a display table for an event held at the Seventh-day Adventist Church, their health ministry, located at 201 Veterans Parkway. On the 21st, they had a truck display at West Hampton Fire Department for the Burlington County Sheriff's Youth Police Academy event. On the 24th, they conducted a fire safety talk to approximately 93 children at the United Hearts Islamic Academy, located on Pennypacker Drive. On the 29th, they assisted Mount Laurel Police Department for a food truck festival in Mount Laurel, and they have upcoming events related to safety event and for Fire Prevention Week. And I don't know if Ms. Jackson is going to elaborate a little bit on those on her report. Our public safety and police department have been busy as well. During the week of September 9th to the 13th, all of our police officers were recertified in defensive tactics, part of police licensing, which is a now requirement for police officers in the state of New Jersey, is that all officers must complete a minimum of 4 hours of defensive tactics training per year. And however, we find this training extremely important, and training to the minimum standard is not enough. So this year, the police completed 8 hours of defensive training, and in 2025, they plan on conducting 4 hours per quarter for a total of 16 hours per year. As a graduate of West Point Academy and their leadership course, our Captain Bucks was eligible to apply for a free scholarship to attend the Advanced Police Practices Seminar in various locations in London, England. And congratulations to Captain Bucks, as he was selected to be one of 15 police executives from the state who will travel to London between December 7th and the 15th. The Advanced Professional Policing Practice Seminar will be held at multiple police and government locations, including the New Scotland Yard, the local city of London, and the London Metropolitan Police Station, and among other things. And all tuition and travel costs will be covered by the New Jersey State Chiefs of Police Association, not Willingboro Township, but nonetheless, we congratulate and salute Captain Bucks for another plug positivity for the Willingboro Police Department. On September 23rd, Officer Chris Kennedy and K9 Tyson started their K9 training school with the New Jersey Police K9 Association. The police department first established the K9 unit back in 1966, making it the longest continually running K9 program in Burlington County. This training includes obedience, agility, building searches, area field searches, and different other areas to protect the animal and the handler, and provide these services to our police department. The K9 unit has also had training in narcotics detection, and these skills are frequently utilized by patrol officers, narcotics officers, detectives, and the SWAT team. K9 Tyson is the 33rd K9 in the Willingboro Police Department, and on average, a police K9 will be in service for approximately 8 to 10 years before retirement. Our Community Affairs Department has been very busy as well. They've had over 2,000 attendees at the senior center. They provided transportation to the center for 189 senior residents, have transported 23 of them to different doctors and dialysis, and delivered over 1,200 pounds of food to residents that are in need. So we thank the Community Affairs Department for their hard work as well. A Recreation Department too has been busy. Broadwell Park Playground Pour and Play has been completed.
Yes.
The restrooms are being worked on, and the plans are on the way for a ribbon cutting ceremony in a couple of weeks in October. They have been working on a Hispanic celebration, or Hispanic heritage celebration, as this is Hispanic Heritage Month, and they will be hosting a cabaret event featuring David Saldana on October the 12th, and maybe Ms. Jackson will have a little bit more information on that. Just a few other items really quick. We have begun some beautification work at the flower beds in front of JFK. So if you have an opportunity to go by and look at the work that's been done there. PSC&G has been doing a lot of road work in the township, and we will be meeting with them soon to discuss the repair work to our streets. And finally, we are in the process of establishing an advisory committee, and we're asking for Willingboro residents who may be interested in participating, seeking dedicated residents, business owners, and stakeholders to join this advisory committee, who will work alongside the township and the organization WSP who is working on our behalf through a grant provided by the state of New Jersey to study the feasibility of creating a storm water utility. And if anyone has any interest in contributing to this committee or participating, please just shoot me an email with your name and address, and we will be sure to get back to you. My email is dharris@willingboro.nj.gov. And then finally, the Baldwin Lane flooding project at that stormwater basin is slated to begin tomorrow. And the county will be working along with our engineers to alleviate those flooding issues caused by the beavers and the trees. And on that, I'm going to ask Ms. Jackson if she would come up and just highlight some of the activities that are going on in Willingboro over the next couple of weeks. Ms. Jackson?
Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, members of council, and Willingboro residents. Happy October. So I just want to apprise you of a few upcoming events for October. First of all, we just are excited about Saturday, October 5th. This Saturday will be our Fall Clean Communities event. We'll start at 9 at the Kennedy Center. All are invited. We will be raffling off of 4 great items and giving out a few goodies, including this wonderful sign that is reminding you to scoop if your dog poops. Hold it up. Okay. So if there's anybody here that would like a sign, we do have them today, and we will be giving them out on Saturday. Just another effort to keep Willingboro clean. So we want to encourage people to come. You can register for the event on Saturday, so we'll know you're coming. So we look forward to that. As was shared and with the proclamation, Fire Prevention Week starts next week. And so there will be an open house on Monday from 6 to 8 at the firehouse, and a reminder to find out about the smoke alarms and how they work for you. So we encourage all of our residents to join us on Monday, October 7th at the firehouse from 6 to 8. As Mr. Harris mentioned, on Saturday, October 12th, we will be celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. That will be at 7 p.m. at the Kennedy Center. The doors will open at 6. It is a cabaret-style celebration featuring David Cedino and DJ Gritology. So tickets are only $25. So we encourage people to come out and celebrate with us for Hispanic Heritage Month. On Saturday, October 19th is our annual indoor fall yard sale. That will be held from 8:30 to 2. The deadline to register is next Friday, October the 11th, and reservations are $10. Pre-registration is required. So we do encourage you, if you want to be a part of the fall yard sale, to register for that event. We will close out October with our annual Trunk or Treat event, and that will be on Saturday, October 26th. We do need volunteers and trunksters for that event, and that's from 2 to 4 in the front parking lot of the Kennedy Center. And if you haven't already, we just want to remind you to take the surveys regarding our township signage, and to share with Mr. Ducker, who you met this evening, about different events you want to see at the Willingboro Performing Arts Center. So just keep those announcements and information before you. And of course, if you need any additional information, you can visit our website, social media, YouTube channel, or our app, or subscribe to Willingboro Weekly. Thank you so much.
Just for clarification, those surveys are online and
Absolutely.
on social media.
Yes,
It's very important to get the feedback of our residents to see what you
Yes.
want to see.
yes.
So just, they're
Definitely on
easy.
our website, on our
Yeah.
social media, and of course, after this meeting now, and make sure they're
Yeah.
front and center tomorrow. And definitely, if you are a subscriber to our Willingboro Weekly, you will get that in your email tomorrow evening. But the surveys are looking good. We have about over 250 or so for both of them. But we certainly encourage and appreciate as much feedback as possible. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. Mr. Harris, you can proceed.
So the business being presented to you for this evening for your consideration is ordinance number 2024-19, which is an ordinance amending Chapter 356, Article 18, entitled Left Turn Prohibitions of the Code of Willingboro Township. This is just going to establish a prohibited left turn coming from the high school, making a left out of the parking lot and just kind of force the traffic to turn to the right, which would alleviate them traveling through. That's correct, and which we have had a lot of complaints about, not only the volume of traffic, but the speed of the persons driving on that road. So we're looking to alleviate that a little bit. Ordinance number 2024 is establishing a working test period for Willingboro Township employees. This ordinance is really an internal codification of what the state's Civil Service Commission requirements are, and we just want to make sure that it is in our policies and established in our our personnel manuals as far as an adopted practice by Willingboro Township. Ordinance number 2024-21 is a similar policy related to property and equipment reimbursement, where the township's property is lost, damaged because of neglect or carelessness, then we're going to hold the employee a little bit liable and culpable for whatever replacement costs that are required. This is not a mechanism to be punitive, but it is a mechanism to encourage a little more care in the handling and management of a township property, which we spend a lot of money to acquire. Ordinance number 2024 is an ordinance to amend the code of the Township of Willingboro, specifically Chapter 314, Section 21, entitled Prohibited Conduct. This is just enhancing our disorderly persons legislation in the township, enabling the police and our courts to have a little more enforcement against certain conducts that are being occurring in Willingboro Township. Ordinance number 2024-23 is an ordinance to amend the code of the Township of Willingboro, specifically Chapter 370, which is entitled Additional Regulations, by amending articles specifying the location where certain items may be placed on residential properties. This is going to prohibit persons from establishing soccer fields and having bounce houses and things like that in front yards, and kind of restricting them to backyards and side yards as applicable. Ordinance number 2024-18 is an ordinance amending 20-11, setting forth the hours of operation for cannabis business under 126-5 of the Township Code of the Township of Willingboro. That would just be extending the hours of operation, I believe, until 10 o'clock p.m., which they're currently required to discontinue operations at 8 o'clock p.m. The resolution is being presented for your consideration as resolution number 2024, is a resolution approving the Township of Willingboro to form a scholarship committee and authorize a memorandum of agreement to partner with Nunu Foundation for an annual scholarship golf tournament. Resolution number 2024-240 is a resolution authorizing the township to take all necessary steps to apply to the Burlington County Library Commission for the Willingboro Public Library to join the Burlington County Library System. Resolution number 241 is a resolution supporting the relocation of Willingboro Public Library to the Kennedy Center at 429 John F. Kennedy Way. Resolution number 243 is a resolution authorizing the Township of Willingboro to enter into an agreement with Dell Incorporated for the purchase of township computers and related accessories. Every year, we do what is considered a refresh, where we upgrade the computer systems in a particular department. And I believe this year, is it the fire or the police? Fire department is on deck to have their computers upgraded, and again, the necessary related accessories. Resolution number 244 is a resolution granting an extension of premises permit and authorizing the township clerk to certify the same application. Resolution number 245 is a resolution authorizing the Township of Willingboro to enter into a contract with Stryker Medical to provide ambulance stretchers and stair chairs. That is exactly what we are looking to purchase, ambulance stretchers and stair chairs. And Stryker Medical is the approved state contractor for those particular pieces of equipment. Resolution number 246 is a resolution awarding a contract for the purchase of a national fitness campaign fitness center. If you recall, about a year and a half ago, I had presented to the Township Council that we were being considered for a grant from the National Fitness Organization to install one of their fitness courts here in Willingboro Township. We looked at it, we investigated, we thought it was a good thing to provide to our residents. We have a large number of residents who utilize the track at the JFK Center. And even this morning, I noticed a gentleman on the grass doing push-ups and sit-ups and all of those. And the fitness court would be an outside type of exercise space for those types of activities. Since we initially spoke, we did receive an additional $10,000 grant from New Jersey Blue Cross Blue Shield, who has got on board with this program. So we are going to look to purchase the fitness court and have it installed right at the base of the track at the JFK Center for utilization by our residents. Resolution number 247 is a resolution authorizing contracts with approved state of New Jersey contracted vendors for specific contracting units. I don't have the resolution in front of me to outline what the contracting units were, but just give me a second. So those were for office supplies from WB Mason. So they supply all of our office supplies for the township. Resolution number 248 is a resolution authorizing a refund for the overpayment of taxes. Resolution number 249 is authorizing the approval of vouchers and the payment and ratification of our bills. Resolution number 250 is a resolution approving standard operating procedures for Willingboro Township Council's standing ad hoc committees. And finally, resolution number 251 is a resolution authorizing the township to establish an arts advisory council for the Willingboro Performing Arts Center. And that's all of the business that we are presenting to you this evening for your consideration.
A little further.
Yes, so the council is making a huge investment in the theater at the JFK. And there has been a discussion about establishing an arts advisory council made up of some notable Willingboro residents who have excelled in the areas of music and theater and performing arts to sit on the advisory board for the theater to kind of aid in bringing in top-notch talents and creating top-notch programs to be utilized in our theater. Deputy Mayor, if you wouldn't mind maybe sharing some of the names that were being presented for that board?
Let me pull up the resolution.
No,
No,
he's
he's
just
just-
explaining for the public.
All right, some of the names that will be participating on that board. Where are the names at?
It's on the second page.
Some of the names, the inaugural members for this committee will be Ted Reed. He is the vice president of Morgan Stanley. He's over there, entertainment division. We have Adam Blackstone. We have Ty Tribbett, Mike McCarthy, Stephen Thompson, and Kevin Harewood, who would be sitting on this committee for purposes of bringing in dollars. This is their base. This is the folks that they deal with. And also for naming rights, bringing in top A-lister acts, and so much more talent because of who they are. And it allows us to generate so much more revenue from grants and everything else they can generate towards this.
Thank you very much. And also, Mr. Harris, can you go back through quickly the ordinances for, the ordinances? Because it seems like we have different numbers or something's amiss.
So
20
what happened, 2024-2022 is, it says conduct, but what that is actually for is the grass clippings. We discussed another ordinance related to the courts, which was not ready, but will be put on for the
The next-
15th.
okay.
But it also had conduct. I
Okay,
think it was
the
just a little
same- okay.
confusion. But this is in regards to grass clippings, when the neighbors cut their grass, leave the clippings on the sidewalk or in the
Right.
street. So we
Okay.
just amended an ordinance that we had to include that.
Okay, and my apologies, I don't actually have that ordinance in front of me, so
Okay,
I was kind of, right, that's correct. So what it is just tightening up the requirement for residents to not put grass clippings in the curb line, in the street, along the sidewalks, and also the township's commitment to clean up after ourselves expediently if we do the same.
okay. All right, thank you very much. We will now open up public comment for agenda items only. Anything that was just talked about, you're able to speak on for 2 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record. Any public comment is now open.
Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Council.
Can you
Oh,
state
Ash-
your name?
Oh,
and
I'm
address?
sorry. Yeah, forgot. Pat Lindsay Harvey, Hadley Lane. And to our residents. Last night, the library had a special meeting, and we put together an ad hoc committee of 2 trustees, two staff members, and 2 members of the Friends to work with the council on the 2 resolutions. Two 240 and 241. That's my comment.
Good evening, Marcus King, 135 Torrington Lane. I just want to make sure I have this right, because you talked about the article, the policy that I was going to talk about. 2421. This relates to, and if I get this wrong, please correct me, employees who damage equipment and there would be some type of reimbursement. So I want to make sure I have that right. And I guess my question really is, because the city has, or Willingboro has collective bargaining agreements, to make sure that this isn't a violation of their collective bargaining agreements, because if so, then we could wind up spending a bunch of money up in arbitrations. So if someone could look into that, I would appreciate it.
Good evening. I'm Brett Bonfield. I'm with New Jersey Library Association. I'm the executive director. Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and Council. Okay, sorry, I'll speak into the microphone. Yeah. The New Jersey Library Association is not a regulatory body. We're a nonprofit membership organization. And we represent the library workers in New Jersey and the libraries. And we advocate for policies that let everybody in New Jersey have the services that they need. We think libraries are a great place to get those services, and we think having strong libraries is a great way for New Jersey to remain strong. And so I'm speaking just to 2024-240. That's the only piece that NJLA is taking a position on. And the concern we have is that it appears that council may wish to join the county system solely by resolution rather than taking it to a vote for the residents. And based on our understanding of New Jersey library law, it would require a vote to join the county system. And again, just to be clear, we are not in favor of any specific model. It's great to have local control and to have an independent library. It's also great to join with neighboring communities and have a county system. NJLA, again, does not take a position on what Willingboro should do or what any other community should do in terms of how it runs its libraries and how it offers library services. But it is really important for us that everyone follow library law. Libraries are under attack in a variety of different ways. People are trying to take books off of the shelf in other communities. And so again, NJLA just really wants to make sure that everyone respects New Jersey's library law. Thank you very much.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I am Anna Pianzo Cotton at 29 Noland Lane, and I would like to comment on Resolution 240 and 241. I am honored to serve as a trustee of the Willingboro Public Library. Thank you for allowing me to serve my community in that way. I want also to thank and acknowledge Dr. Worthy and Mr. Harris for their presence at our last two library board meetings, in which they shared a lot more background, a lot more context about what these proposed resolutions might entail. And I want to just share that we've also had opportunity through those meetings to hear from staff, to hear from the Friends of the Willingboro Public Library, and get feedback on concerns and questions. And so I think from my lens as a trustee, as a person who's worked in county government and at county institutions, I do want to simply state that there are significant areas of alignment in these proposals with our strategic plan and with our goals for moving forward in closer alignment with county resources, in closer alignment with township resources, with better digital infrastructure and better programming, better marketing and communication around existing programming and utilization of our specialized spaces. There are also a number of questions and a number of risks that have been raised, concerns about the impact on our local employees, specifically with joining the county library system, concerns about being subsumed under county process, concerns about having efficiency through that process with some of our local materials process. I also have heard many concerns around the total amount of space relative to resolution number 241 being insufficient, and then also how would we ensure that there's access for some of the public programming space. And so I just ask that we be more involved. As our president of our board stated, we have formed an ad hoc committee and look forward to being much more actively involved in the process moving forward. Thank you.
Good evening, Corvina Francis Denton, 35 Boxwood Lane. Honored to serve on the Willingboro Library Board and honored to continue to do this service for our community. I would like to pick up where Pianza Cotton left off to say we have formed an ad hoc committee through which we are hoping to be able to work more closely with the township and to be able to express our concerns, the concerns of the library, the Friends of the Library, and the concerns of the citizens. With that in mind, we are therefore requesting or asking council, we know there is the opportunity to vote tonight, but we're also fully aware that we have not had an opportunity to evaluate either the move to Kennedy Center or to join the county library system. With that in mind, we're asked that the ad hoc committee and the council be able to look at the value of both, what it offers the Willingboro community, and to be able to get the voice of the people at the table. More than anything else, what we've heard through this process is how the heart of the people in our town is truly broken at the thought that we would have taken away their right to have a voice in this matter. We are requesting just an opportunity to continue to look at where we go moving forward and what would not only be best for the library, but what would be best for the people that the library serves. Thank you.
Hey, Fairchild. If I'm not Tiffany. Good evening. I'm the Friends of the Willingboro Library. And we were here last year, just about the same time, receiving a proclamation for National Friends of Libraries Week. So today I come to defend that very library and advocate for it. This is a statement that we reached some consensus on with the Friends of the Library. If it had a title, it would be called More Time, a petition for more time for deeper engagement regarding the future of the Willingboro Public Library. The residents of Willingboro have been left in the dark about plans to relocate the library to Kennedy Center and/or plans to turn over authority of the Willingboro Public Library to the Burlington County Library System. Resolutions have been drafted and decisions are about to be made without providing details about the total cost of the move, whether the size of the relocated building is sufficient, or whether staffing, programs, and services will be reduced, or how these plans fit into the 2025 master plan. We, the residents of Willingboro and the members of the library community, ask the Township Council to postpone any decisions about the library until more material questions are answered, a series of public discussions are planned, and we have had an opportunity to be part of a meaningful process to reimagine our library as an institution that serves Willingboro's essential needs.
Okay, Sarah Holly.
Hello, council members. Okay, I have several things pertaining to the ordinance, but I'll just start with this one.
State address?
Oh, I'm at Tioga Lane. Were you all aware that we have an international storyteller in town? I just want to say that not all entertainment should involve music. There are other types of entertainment. And a question for Councilman Anderson, maybe I didn't hear, but all of the names that you listed, were they male? That's funny, Council. I just asked the question, were they all males? We have some very accomplished females in town. Were they all males, Councilman? My time is ticking. Okay, I'll just let that go. Put me a couple more minutes back on my time. Okay, I'm gonna let that one go. If you don't know the name of the international storyteller, I'll be more than happy to let you know. Okay. I'm not sure this was an agenda item, but I just want to thank Mayor McIntosh and Manager Harris for the work that's been done on Brodeo Park. So you can give yourself a pat on the shoulder for that one. I also would like you to know that as I have been riding around town, I've noticed that the tree branches that were overhanging the streets, you've done a lot to take those down or to cut those down. So you can give yourself another pat on the back for that.
Okay, it's
Is my
time.
time up?
Yeah.
Even the time that
Another 4 minutes later, Miss Holly. Thank you, Miss Holly.
Okay, I'll be back.
Okay.
Okay, Myra.
Myra Hirschhorn, 202 Northampton Drive. I'm calling in to commend the library system. I have been in Willingboro since 75, so using it as a family since then. However, over the last 15 years, the library has been very, very helpful to the Parkinson's people. We have had meetings there at the library often. We also have had, we have wonderful resources there. They were really great about ordering all kinds of books on the topic for people who have Parkinson's. We now are using their services. They're doing meetings for us on the web, and I can't thank them enough for what they've done, and I think we should all be proud of what we're doing. So I hope you'll consider keeping this on so we can all have these continued services. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Hutchison. What does that say? Ms. Myra. Huh? Herschel.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
All right, Brown.
Members, good evening, Mayor, good evening, Deputy Mayor. I wanted to cover Resolution 240 and 241. I think it's a great idea to reload the library to the Kennedy Center. We'll be in the middle of every park. It's better place because of theater and art, which is fixed into the foundation. It is like a hub, which brings people together, which has lots of room because the building was for high school. As for the county system, we shouldn't be isolated. I favor that as well. We shouldn't be isolated. We should be sharing access to more resource. And the previous location that we have is so far out of earth, so far out of the end of the earth. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Brown.
You're welcome.
Okay, Barb.
Hi, my name is Barbara Stevens. I've lived in Buckingham for over 36 years, and I am a consistent library user. I do want to say that I am not in favor of the move, only because I believe it will limit the programs the library currently offers to the residents, from the English language service to the snack after school to the reading to the younger kids. I also think that where it is now is easy to get to because it's easier for the residents that live in apartments. It's located right on 130. There's food around for the kids to get. I think that if we were to move the library, we would miss out on a lot. Our collections would change because we would not have the same square footage. The programs that we offer would change because we would not have the space to have them there. I understand the reasoning for wanting it at JFK because it is where so many of our programs are, but I do not think we have been there for so long. I was disappointed this wasn't brought to the residents first, and you didn't allow us time to really decide what we wanted before it was brought to a vote that barely any of us, or will be brought to a vote that barely any of us knew about. I think our library is a huge resource, especially for families who don't have the money to go out and buy books for their kids. And it would be, I think it would, I do not understand how it would benefit our community to move it or put it under the county. And if you can give us reasons why it would benefit it, then maybe I would understand a little better. But until that time comes, I think that, again, the vote should be held off. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Stevens.
All right, Rochelle Lee.
Hi, good evening. Rochelle Lee, 18 Pine Street. So I had spoke on this the last meeting. I'm very concerned about the two ordinance 240 and 241. What I would like to say here tonight is the last meeting, I think Dr. Worthy had a list of items that were ran down for the township last meeting. in regards to the public library, what needed to be improved. And my question is, what are the resources and the support that is being provided by the town council to ensure that the library the board has the resources that they need to be able to make these updates and changes, to be able to revitalize the things that Dr. Worthy had spoke about. So would like to get into more detail about that, as well as understanding better the benefits of the a combination of the township and the Willingboro Public Library, because last meeting we said we were supposed to get some documentation to lay out the pros and cons, and I didn't see any documentation to support that. So would be interested in understanding that, as well as also indicating, as many other members or the township has also said, in regards to having the people actually have a vote. I feel like the people should also have a vote in where the library resides, as well as the programs that the current library has, and not being able to have a decision or any input on combining both the Willingboro Library as well as the township, the county.
Thank you, Mrs. Lee. Ms. Lee?
All right, Dr. Jennifer Noble Slayton.
This is Dr. Noble Slayton, 28 Windsor Lane. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Good evening. I was curious as to, during the time of a relocation, would the library remain in place so that services do not discontinue during the time of building up or enhancing the JFK Center so that there's no loss of time for our students? We don't want the children to be without resources while construction would be going on. And if so, if the library would shut down during that time, then how long of a break are we talking? And how long would it take a project of this size to be completed in order to meet the size requirements that the library needs? Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Noble Slayton. Is there anyone else for public comment for agenda items only? Seeing none, public comment is now closed. Obviously, there's a lot of concerns over the library going to the Burlington County system, as well as the move to the JFK space. First of all, we, just for the public's understanding, we did gather all the questions, and I got yours, Ms. Cray. And we're just combining all the questions for consideration for the Burlington County Library. So that's still in process, just to let everyone know that's still in process. We're still going over and hashing out some of the details with the county and among council. The move to the library, I'll say from my perspective, is that it is centrally located. And we do think it would be more traffic, it'll be more access to our residents. And also the place the sizing right now is okay, but we are using our engineer to make sure that that is the truth. But as we know right now, as we understand it right now, that it is adequate space to move our library for our population. I didn't know if any other council members had any addition to moving the library or the Burlington County system.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I also would like to add, in terms of the potential move to the JFK Center, that's not something that would happen immediately. That's not like we're looking at moving it in the next couple of weeks. That would be something that would happen probably in a year from now or 18 months from now, because we're renovating the JFK Center. So the conversation that started with the library board in 2021 about potentially moving the library to the JFK Center was in part of the whole reimagining Willingboro, transforming our spaces. What could it possibly look like? And so now we're at a point where we actually have gotten funding for the renovations in the JFK Center. So we're revisiting a conversation about relocating the library over to the JFK Center. And I think that, just understanding it's not something happening overnight. If there's an ad hoc committee that was just formed yesterday, that's great. And that ad hoc committee would be invaluable in terms of moving forward. If we move forward with moving to JFK, what the design of the library looks like, being involved with the architect, being involved with the engineer to be able to create a brand new space in the center of town. So it's not, I just wanted to clarify, as we're talking about a potential move, we're not talking about just hurrying up and moving over right away. And we're not talking about just copy or cut and paste the library into the JFK Center. There would be extensive renovations where it would look very different from what it looks like today. And it would be a lot of shared spaces and access to the residents as well. So I just wanted to clarify that that piece of it. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. And just to answer Dr. Noble Slayton's question about the discontinue of services while we would if we were to transfer to the JFK, we would work that out, to have the least amount of disruption to services. I can't promise it would be no disruption, but we would try to minimize that. And as we got closer, if the will of the council was to move the library to JFK, we would definitely keep the community updated. Does anybody, Councilwoman Whitfield?
Thank you, Mayor. I also just wanted to thank the Library Commission as well as the Friends of the Library and all the patrons that got on today, the National Library Association, for your input. We are not a council that operates in a vacuum. We really do take the feedback of our residents and stakeholders seriously. So I appreciate all that you have shared today, and I look forward to more input and further input from the ad hoc committee that was formed.
Councilwoman I'm sorry, Rome.
Yes, thank you. So my continued concern is when it comes to relocating the library to the JFK Center, and I forget who mentioned it just now, but there was, we do have grant money for renovations. So why wouldn't we use the money to renovate the library to give it a facelift and bring them up to speed as far as technology, as opposed to breaking down walls at the JFK Center and creating a whole entire new space to make it look like a library when the library already exists. And in addition to, so that's one thought. The library, the structure of it exists. Does it need a facelift? Some areas, yes. Does it need to come up to par with technology? Yes. I can imagine that utilizing some of the funding to do that would be a lot less expensive than creating a brand new structure in what used to be a school, because the area that we're speaking of are parts of the area of the JFK Center that still appears to be classroom settings and schools where we haven't really done anything with. So therefore, why not use the money to renovate the JFK structure for whatever other ideas, and I think Councilman Anderson had mentioned at the last council meeting that having ideas to have more venues for renting banquets or other types of ideas, which are great ideas, but if you're going to build, break down walls to convert what used to be a school, use that funding to do exactly what you just described, as opposed to removing the structure that already exists. Lastly, so that's with moving. With regards to going to the county, the gentleman who spoke earlier had spoken about the community vote, taking a vote on this. So I'm concerned about that. I didn't hear anybody speak about that, nor did I hear anything from our solicitor. But I'm not sure why that's still on the agenda when that is something that has to happen first. that it has to go before the people of Willingboro to vote on going with the county. So I know we're talking about two different things, so those are my thoughts on both. I find that with the ad hoc committee, I find that their request to give them the opportunities to look into additional information such as financing or laws behind it, or I think we should allow them that opportunity to do that. This way, when they come back to us with some more educational pieces for us to make an informed decision, at least we have that. And maybe my answer will be able to be answered at that time too. What is the dollar amount to break down walls at the JFK Center as opposed to the dollar amount to maybe replace the carpet at the Willingboro Public Library? Those are my thoughts.
Thank you, Councilwoman Perone. Just for clarification, the vote, we were gonna address the vote from the public for the Burlington County Library System. That was one of the questions that we did gather that we were going to present to our library lawyer and the county to see if that's the truth, because the understanding that we had right now that's not, there's no referendum needed for that decision. However, like that, we wanted to make sure and confirm.
So are we gonna pull that?
That's a discussion.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so you have that information.
Go ahead, Councilwoman Worthy.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. In terms of the grant money that Councilwoman Perone mentioned, the reason that it can't be applied to the library where it currently is because the grant specifically states renovations at the JFK Center. So the grant money wasn't acquired from the library or the Friends of the Library or any of them. The monies that we got were from grants that were applied for and money that came down from the state. And it was specific to the JFK Center. So that's why now if we had the grant money from the library, Friends of the Library, for those things, we absolutely would allocate the money for, replacing the carpets and things like that. But the money that we got didn't, that's not what we got. So that's why it's going towards the JFK Center. In terms of funding, we currently fund the library at 0.048 cents per $100. The requirement is 0.033 per $100. So we're funding our library very competitively. And we also offset some of the expenses as things come up as well. We've worked on giving the library more money. There was a time where it was a big cut to their budget, and they've been able to secure additional funding. We work collaboratively. Director Krantz comes and shares the library, their requests at budget time. So in terms of us funding them, we do fund the library well, but it's a huge space to try to keep up with. 42,000 square feet, as you know, is it's a massive space, and we're funding them at 0.048. And then in terms of the vote, you asked why it's on the agenda for tonight, again, in terms of the possible relocation to the county system. It's because we specifically tabled it until this meeting, because we wanted to be able to have that discussion if we got the answers back from the county, and we had tabled it to the next meeting. So it has to be on there, whether we table it again. Of course, council can do that, but the reason it's appearing tonight is because we tabled it until this meeting, but we absolutely can, if it be the will of the council to table it again, we can do that. So that's why it's there.
Can I just respond to her? Thank you, Councilman Worthy, for adding that information. So that's helpful. The grant is for the JFK Center, and I do recall that. So thank you for reminding me of that. To renovate and break down the library structure to create something new, I think that whatever ideas that was mentioned with regards to what we're going to do with that building it will no longer look like a library. So that's going to cost money. And as you stated, the money if in the event that it's moved to JFK, we use the grant to create a whole brand new structure. Now, the structure that currently exists as a library will no longer look like that because you're going to do something else to it. You're going to pull up the carpet. You're going to break down the walls. You're going to take down the museum, and that's going to cost money. So that means the funding to do that is going to come somewhere from the budget. So rather than spend that much money to break down the structure that already exists, why not put in a little bit of money to perhaps just replace the carpet and maybe add the technology to our technology system? This way it's coupled in with our agreements that we have with the our tech, contractual agreements that we have. This way, the library is now up to speed, literally, technology-wise, and we help that way. But the amount of money that it seems like it's, what it sounds like it's going to cost, and again, the ad hoc committee currently has just been established. I think having them come back with real numbers to us will help definitely what I think. And I just would like to see the library uplifted and just giving a little bit of support as far as, again, with the technology and maybe the carpet. I think it looks nice, honestly, the way it is. Maybe the carpet needs to be updated. But outside of that, it just sounds like we could do something else at the JFK Center with that money other than create a structure that already exists. It's like creating another municipal township building at the JFK Center when this one already exists. You break the.
I think that's
yeah.
a.
That's
no,
my thinking. I'm
no,
like,
and I
it's
understand.
already a
No, I
structure that
appreciate
exists.
that.
So now you're breaking it down and creating it somewhere else, utilizing the funding to break down a structure to create the same type of structure that you need somewhere else.
Okay,
So
no,
that's
I-
just
no, I
my,
get
I
that.
mean,
I
that's just
understand.
one, this
Thank
is
you.
my
I
thoughts on
think,
that.
yeah, I don't think we're breaking down a whole structure to create it, but okay, no,
Okay.
thank, I appreciate that. And then. I appreciate that input. Anybody else have any more input for the library?
Oh, boy. Some acts are just hard to follow. All right, so, where my stance is, and I believe I spoke about it at the last meeting, I'm in favor of the relocation. And as we have architects designing the library, we have an opportunity to expand the square footage. There are other rooms in that building that we can convert to working spaces to accommodate the library. So these are all options on the table as we work through the design process. So this is not nothing that we're saying we're doing specifically for the library. We already budgeted to have that JFK Center restructured. So from the point of me supporting the relocation is from the standpoint of it gives us an opportunity to lease that space out and to make some money. We are a bedroom community. We don't have commercial land. We just don't, like other communities, to help offset taxes. So it's our responsibility to do our best to think outside the box. So if you just want to know my reasoning for supporting it, it's just that. And I understand everyone in this room is a fan of the library, everybody online, but this is a community of 33,000 people. And I know everybody may not be a fan of the library, but everybody is a fan of keeping taxes low. And it's our intentions, okay, to do everything we can do to accommodate every single resident. Now, as it stands for the merging with the county system, there are questions that were asked at the last meeting we have not received answers back on. And I think it would be unfair for us to make a decision without having those answers. So at this point, I'm willing and I will support tabling that portion until we can get some more clarity. Thank you.
And I just, for clarification, I just want to make sure, it wasn't the, I don't know if it's the full count. I know you're saying about the economic development, but that wasn't the reason for moving the library. Okay, all right. Okay. Yeah, that wasn't the emphasis, that wasn't for my decision, but that's an added benefit possibly, but that was never, my intention initially. Did you?
Yeah.
Councilwoman Whitfield?
I also did want to add, one of the reasons why we looked at the space in JFK is not only because we got funding to do renovations at JFK, but also because the space that we were looking at was formerly used as a library. So it's not like we're doing or we want to do break down one space to create it again. We're repurposing a former space that was used and updating it, modernizing it, and hopefully providing better access to students that live across town, having the library more centrally located. But I am open to suggestions, hearing more about it. I look forward to the feedback, and I want to work with everyone, personally, and I don't think I just speak for myself, but for the rest of council, and finding common ground on what we want the library to achieve here in Willingboro, and how it can serve our community to the best of its ability, whether it be at the location that it currently is, or if we move it.
to the JFK. The design is still pending, so we can make sure that all of the components that are necessary are incorporated in that design as we move forward if we choose to take that path.
Thank you so much. And just, thank you for that. I'll go through the list. Ms. Lindsay Harvey, did indicate that they formed an ad hoc committee. I think that's, a great first step to make sure that there is dialogue between the stakeholders. So, I think that was a great step, as Dr. Worthy did call to the table, the library board and Friends of the Library to, to call to action to make the library the most optimal it can be. So I do appreciate that step, towards that. Mr. King, he had a concern about ordinance 2024-21. Mr. Harris, can you offer some insight into that concerning, if this would be contradictory to our collective bargaining in the union?
So the governing body has the ability to establish policy within the township. And our responsibility to the collective bargaining units are to provide them with notice of the proposed policy changes, which we had done. We allowed them the opportunity to comment on the proposed policy. We sent it out to our legal counsel to make sure that it was in line with our collective bargaining agreements. And there is no reason not to move forward with the decision. However, there is always the opportunity for or the potential for a disagreement once the execution of the policy happens. Some of the things that have been occurring that really prompted this type of movement is, we have had vehicle damage to our equipment because employees were reckless and driving with rear gates down or not checking behind them for equipment and running over township equipment. We had an instance where an employee during their lunch break took a nap in the truck. When they came out, the weed whacker was gone. So these are the things that the taxpayers are continuing to fund, and I really like to support our departments by providing them with the best equipment that we can fund them to have, but I also need them to take care and be responsible for the equipment that we are providing them. And I just think that in clear instances where there has been neglect or malfeasance, if stuff just disappears, that we should have an ability to hold our employees accountable. And, when the first case comes, then I guess the waters will be tested. But I think now we have been in compliance with all the requirements through the collective bargaining agreements to establish this policy.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Denfield, from the Library Association, did share his concerns to make sure we are following the library law. That was one of our, our questions that we held out to make sure that we had the proper information and counsel on. So that is something that we are highlighting. So I appreciate that. Ms. Cotton and Ms. Frances Denton, who are on the library board, share their concerns about, making sure that they have a voice in some of the decisions concerning the library with the council. But I do think the ad hoc committee can make sure that happens. Ms. Fairchild, again, came up just to defend the Friends of the Library, defend the library. Ms. Holly indicated that we have an international storyteller, and I'll say Miss Karen Abdul Malik, AKA Queen Noor, very familiar with her. She had a question for Mr. Deputy Mayor Anderson, I think needs to be handed. It's a good point. I gotta give her credit. It's a good point. So, explain.
So prior to Ms. Holly's question, there were all men or all males. Since her question, when we read the resolution, I'm willing to amend it to include Ms. Karen Abdul Malik.
Yeah. Any other women? No, that's the only one. Okay. We'll explore that. Ms. Holly also gave kudos to the renovation of Broydale Park and also the tree cutting. So I'd like to pass that kudos on to our employees and our recreation department, our DPW, and any other staff that was involved in that. I'd really like to say thank you and push that the kudos from Ms. Holly to you guys for making that happen. Miss Myra. Yeah, had concerns also about the library moving, and she wanted to just let us know that she was very pleased with the library system as is. Miss Sharon Brown favors the move to the Burlington County Library System and thinks it's a great idea to go to the JFK. Miss Barbara Stevens has still, has concerns moving to the JFK and would like some more understanding of that. Miss Rochelle Lee had questions about the resources provided by the resources that we provide to the library board. Okay, yeah. And also, can you give us a number from the budget, how much we send towards the library?
One point 1.197, I think is the
1.97.
925.
92.
It's 1.9 million and something.
Okay, so,
Yeah,
okay, over $1 million, okay.
it's over $1 million.
Over $1 million, but that the township does invest in the library yearly. And we take in consideration, what's needed over there. But she also would like to know the benefits if we move to the Burlington County system and feels that the people should have more of a voice on that. And that's all I had. I acknowledge Dr. Noble Slayton's issue. Was there anything I missed? Okay. All right. We'll move on to our ordinances.
Do you want me to just go down the ordinances and request a motion in a second for each one? Ordinance 2024-19, an ordinance amending chapter 356, article 18, entitled Left Turn Prohibitions of the Code of Willingboro Township. Can I get a motion in a second?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Whitfield, second by Dr. Worthy. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Whitfield,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dr. Worthy.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor McIntosh.
Yes.
I request a motion in a second to introduce ordinance 2024-20. An
So-
ordinance establishing a working test period for Willingboro Township employees.
Can I get a motion in a second?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dr. Worthy, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Whitfield,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dr. Worthy,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor McIntosh.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-21, an ordinance adopting a policy related to property and equipment reimbursement. I'd request a motion in a second.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Dr. Worthy, seconded by Councilwoman Whitfield. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Whitfield,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dr. Worthy,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor McIntosh.
Yes.
Okay, Ordinance 2024-22, an ordinance to amend the code of the Township of Willingboro, specifically Chapter 314-21 entitled Prohibited Conduct. Can I get a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Anderson, seconded by Councilwoman Perone. Any further any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Whitfield,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dr. Worthy,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor McIntosh.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-23, an ordinance to amend the code of the Township of Willingboro, specifically Chapter 370 entitled Additional Regulations by amending articles specifying the location. I'd request a motion in a second.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Anderson, seconded by Councilwoman Whitfield. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Whitfield,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dr. Worthy,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor McIntosh.
Yes.
Okay. I'm opening the public hearing on ordinance 2024-18, an ordinance amending 2021-11, setting forth the hours of operation for cannabis business under 126-5 of the Township Code of the Township of Willingboro. Can I get a motion in a second? Actually, I had to open the public hearing. My apologies. The public hearing on the ordinance is open. If anybody wants to address the council, come forward. Nobody? Okay, I'm closing the public hearing. Can I get a motion in a second?
So moved.
Second. Moved by Dr. Worthy, seconded by Mayor McIntosh. Any further discussion? Ms. Councilwoman Perone.
Yes, thank you. I just want to further, I know I spoke about this at the last council meeting when we spoke about this topic and when it was at, I think, the last reading. Again, I did look into our local pharmacists and none of them open up at 7 a.m. and they are legally allowed to sell drugs. So when we look at cannabis to enter the hours of operation earlier in the day, just 1 hour after 6 a.m., I find that we are being careless of the fact that there are addictions, that people have drug addictions. And although cannabis is used for some medical purposes for some individuals, it is also a recreational drug. And I find that it's not necessary to have an establishment that is selling cannabis to begin their operations earlier in the day at 7 a.m. and close later in the day when, again, our local pharmacists of Willingboro, which we have about 5, none of the earliest that one opens up, and I don't want to call out their names, I did look them up, is at 8 o'clock. And they're also not just selling drugs. It's actually other things that they sell that could be used personal reasons. So again, I'm going to vote no for this, and I just really would wish that the council would reconsider allowing this establishment to start selling their products at 7 o'clock in the morning. I just don't think that it's necessary right now, and just kind of keep in mind that there's some families that have people that are struggling right now with drug addiction. So I would like for us not to encourage it by making it available a lot earlier in the morning. That's all.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Any further discussion?
Just looking at the ordinance, it says hours, no cannabis retailer may open to customers before 7 a.m., which doesn't mean that this organization is looking to do that, because during their conversations, they were just requesting the later hours to stay open, to be competitive, not to open up any earlier. So just so that we're not saying, we're telling them they will be opening at 7, it just says no earlier than 7. Previous to that, it said no earlier than 8, but that wasn't their hours. They're just looking to extend the hours.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
I just want to be clear, Deputy Mayor, the hours that they were currently allowed to open was at 8 a.m. One of our local pharmacies open up at 8 a.m., and that is the only one. The others open up at 9. This ordinance is allowing this organization to open up an hour earlier, and they will be the first open to sell drugs in Willingboro, and that be hour at 7 a.m. All I'm saying is that we don't have to push it up earlier. It already exists at 8 a.m. of operation. They want to open up earlier in the morning, which giving them opening up hours at 7 a.m., but not to be open up at 6 a.m. So I just want us to make sure we're on the same page, that I understand that this ordinance does not say they can open up at 6 a.m. But what it says is to change it so they can open up at 7 a.m. as opposed to what's currently scratched out, which was starting at 8 a.m. and closing at 8 p.m. So you want them to open up earlier and close later. And what I'm just trying to remind the council of, they're not selling grapes. You see? They're selling a product that people have addiction to. And for us to allow earlier hours and later hours, we're encouraging this type of action. And that's what I'm saying. It's earlier than 8 o'clock, which means this says before, not to open up before 7 a.m. It's still too, it's 8 a.m. It's enough, I think. It's,
No, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, these are individuals who have scripts. Some of this is medical that they serve, that they service. So if I have a medical condition and I'm having issues and I have a script, it would accommodate me. But once again, they're not requesting 7, and I get it. We're saying they can't open no earlier.
they are requesting 7. That's why I think
No.
it
no,
says not,
re-
okay,
No,
unless I'm.
no.
Well, but it
Yeah.
says that we can.
Okay.
Well, Ms.
No
Ms.
business
McHugh,
before
would
7
that,
a.m.
wait.
Right?
Ms. McHugh, would that constitute a material change if we were to revert the morning hours back to 8 a.m.? Would we have to go through the whole ordinance process again, or could we just strike the 7 a.m. piece from the proposed change?
I can review this to double check it further, but my initial thought would be that yes, it would be a material change. The only purpose of this ordinance was to change the hours, not any other aspect of the operations for the cannabis business.
Right,
So
so
if we
did they request the early? I thought it was just later.
They did request.
Okay.
They had a request to open up, well, later.
Later.
Oh, I see. And then, so we added the earlier piece to it. I remember the request. Oh, yeah, I think earlier and later, it shouldn't be. I just-
Okay. Okay,
I'm
fair enough.
concerned. I don't know.
Yeah, I do think they're two separate things. I mean, we have drug addicts in the dispensary. I don't think, well, adds to the drug addicts. So I mean, I agree to, that does exist, but, I don't think, this has been a safe, where's our chief? Our chief
I mean,
left.
all I'm
Public
saying,
sa- oh, hey.
I'm
Go
just
ahead.
saying that our current pharmacies
Okay.
that sell
I-
more than
I-
just
I-
pharmacy products are opening up later than
At
this.
8 o'clock.
And now we're having cannabis open up earlier. It's
Got
like,
it.
what are we trying to tell the people of Willingboro?
They can get their medication early?
No, but it's not just for medication. It's also recreation. That's what I mean. Like, it's like, the one thing that I appreciate with cannabis is that it did eliminate the people that were incarcerated because they had marijuana on them. I think that was horrible, and that's the one thing that I appreciate that's now gone away. But I don't want us to be so careless that we're opening up, this type of store earlier in the morning as, like, I think we should be, I would like for us to be a little bit more conscientious that people do have addictions. And you know what? Some people are addicted to their own prescriptions, and I get that. But I just feel that we don't need to open up earlier. And I think somebody did recall that they were asking for later hours.
Yeah.
So
To your point, I wouldn't mind just re-sticking to 8 a.m. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, I'm not.
I
opposed to
do
that.
think it's fair to allow them to open till 10 to remain competitive with the other dispensaries down Route 130, which are, majority of them are open till 10. I think that's fair to allow them that. But to your point, I don't mind changing
I
to
mean,
8 a.m.
I'm not trying to be difficult, but honestly, the pharmacies close at 9 o'clock too. And
Right,
if it's, I'm
and I'm
just,
not comparing it to, but
I'm just
okay, I
saying that
understand.
we have to keep in mind what they're selling.
Okay.
And not to belabor the topic, but thank you for at least looking into not, we just trying to be careful about because we know what they're selling. So, again, maybe nobody in your family, but there are families that are struggling with people that they're constantly on something. And I think for us to create hours that are later or earlier in the day, we're kind of, maybe not really thinking about some families that may have these issues, or maybe they don't have an issue, but now they will, because guess what? At 7 o'clock in the morning, they can just, well, this is what it says, 7
So I mean,
a.m.
we'll put it to 8 o'clock, okay. Does anybody have any objections to changing it to 8 AM versus 7 AM?
I have no objection to that, Mayor. What about closing at 9? Oh, you had a question.
I don't have an objection, Mayor, but I do want to submit that our local Quick Marts and Quickie Marts and Quick Stops and all of them open around 7 AM. And they sell products that are very similar to cannabis that are not regulated in the same way in this different smoke shops. So I just want to submit that I'm not saying that it has to be 7 AM or 8 AM, but those Quick Mart shops, if you evaluate the products that they have in there, they are actually competing with the cannabis shops because of the products that they're allowed to sell that are not regulated. So I just wanted to bring that up, whether it's 7 AM or 8 AM, it's fine with me. But I think if we're looking at, addiction in Willingboro, if that's the new conversation, then I just believe that we need to look at it then holistically. And there are a lot more things that we can look at, thematically that are going on in our town, like the smoke shop that's over on Beverly Rancocas Road, across from the high school. I mean, there's a whole lot of things that I think we would need to look at more than just a time shift of if it's 7 or 8, but I'm fine with it being 8 AM. And I invite the conversation of taking a holistic look at the community.
Right, and I appreciate that, and I want to make sure I'm clear, I'm not saying that we have a drug addiction in Willingboro, so I want to make sure that's on the record. I'm just saying in the world, people are struggling with certain addictions. And I think I said it before, I don't think that they should be open at 10 o'clock at night. The pharmacies close at 9. So I think we should, again, not to belabor it, but I think 8 AM, I think they should be on the hours with pharmacy hours. That's how I feel, because of what they're selling.
And originally, when coming up with these times, the concern was really the safety,
Mhm.
was the safety of the surrounding area, making sure there was no crime around the area.
I remember that.
Right, but so over this past year, they've been open till 9 PM.
Yeah.
There's been 0 crime.
Right, that's
Zero.
good. So why
Right,
don't
I'm
we leave
saying,
it the
so
way it
then you
is?
should, but allowing them, but we're trying to support our businesses also in Willingboro. That is for we are trying to support our business. Their request was, could they be open? At this point, I don't see a problem with them being open later.
Why don't we look
and-
at it in a year from now? Because they just started, it's like, give it some time to see, because you may not even want them here anymore. It's
Well,
like,
also,
give it some
Councilwoman
time.
Jerome, I think there are establishments that distribute alcohol and sell alcohol products that are open far past 10 p.m. They're open till 2 a.m., which is arguably more dangerous. It gives more time, and it has on-site consumption. So those people are not only staying out until 2 a.m., but then also leaving intoxicated and driving after such.
Not in Willingboro. We don't sell we're not selling alcohol past 10 o'clock. No, like that's well, I'm just saying, like, what I'm saying is we don't have alcohol stores in Willingboro. They're
But
nearby.
there are people
They're
that
nearby, not in Willingboro.
sell alcohol for consumption on premises.
If you're referring to a party, somebody's at a party, that's different. I'm talking about an actual store you go in just to buy. Yeah, I know. Well, let's not start talking about other people.
All right, I mean, I'm just saying.
Start calling.
All right, so we call the vote? Yeah. You want to call the vote?
Vote on the amended hours, or do we
That's
have to
what-
scratch?
Yeah. Okay. With the amendment, okay. Okay.
I would agree with that recommendation. Mr.
Okay, you
Harris.
say that for the record. When people can.
Yeah, you can note for the record a motion to change the hours. However, as the cannabis ordinance was just for a change in the hours, changing what has been published would be a material change. So it would be republished for your next meeting.
Okay.
What hours are those, just for the record?
Well, that would be for a motion for someone on council to make so that that can be clear for the record. I will not make that motion.
Oh, okay, I thought was what he made. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Maggie.
I make a motion that we alter the hours of ordinance 2024-18 to business may open to customers for business, or no cannabis retailer may open to customers for business before 8 a.m., reverting back to the previous language. But to keep or remain open to customers for business after 10 p.m. 10 p.m. being the latest.
Until 10.
Until 10 p.m., yes.
Second.
Open to, yeah.
Yeah,
Moved
no-
by, yeah, you did it right.
Okay.
Moved by Councilwoman Whitfield, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson. Roll call.
Councilwoman Peron, Councilwoman Whitfield, Councilwoman Peron.
You calling me?
Yeah.
Okay. I will say, okay, yes.
Councilwoman Whitfield,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dr. Worthy.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor McIntosh.
Yes. Thank you. All right, for resolutions, the council, is there any, can you tell me which ones you want pulled? Yes, Dr. Worthy,
Madam Mayor, I'd like to pull Resolution 2024-240.
240. Any other ones?
Yep.
251.
250, I think Councilman Worthy said that, and also,
250.
oh, you said 24, okay, so 250,
Mm-hmm.
224,
224.
you're already pulling 240,
Correct.
and are you already pulling 241?
I can pull that.
Okay, 241, and, let me see, hold on. Also, 251.
That was already pulled.
251.
Yes, so
Okay, yeah, you said, okay, I
250.
said
That was already pulled.
224, 240, 241, 250, and 251.
Got it.
Is that correct for you?
That's what I have, yes, thank you.
Okay. Let me just get that correct. Okay. Looks good. And then 25, okay. I make a motion for a consent agenda for resolutions. Was it 2020, 243 through 249? I'm sorry, 2024, 249.
Okay, so moved.
Mayor, I
Yes.
think 244, Councilwoman Peron asked for
yeah.
244 to be pulled.
No, she didn't.
No, I said, I'm.
224, 240,
240.
241, 250, 251.
Right, 224.
Oh, okay.
224, it's right underneath 12,
So can
letter
I
A.
get a second for
letter
my
A.
motion?
Second.
Second, okay. Moved by Mayor McIntosh, seconded by Councilwoman Peron.
Yeah.
I make a motion to approve that consent agenda as stated.
Second.
Oh, we didn't vote. I'm sorry. I apologize. We didn't vote. I apologize.
Councilwoman Peron,
Yes.
Councilwoman Whitfield,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dr. Worthy,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor McIntosh.
Yes. All right. I make a motion to approve the same.
Second.
Moved by Mayor McIntosh, seconded by Councilwoman Whitfield. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Peron,
Yes.
Councilwoman Whitfield,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dr. Worthy.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor McIntosh.
Yes. Okay. We can start with the resolutions 224.
Just 1 second. 224. Two, 224.
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Peron, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson. Discussion, please. Yes, Councilwoman Peron.
Thank you. So I did review this resolution, and it's pertaining to, there's quite a bit going on with this one resolution. So part of my issue is that part first. It says a resolution approving the Township of Willingboro to form a scholarship committee and authorize a memorandum of agreement to partner with Nunu Foundation for all annual scholarships golf outing. Um, and then I read everything, and I did also recognize that there were individuals appointed to this committee. And so I'm going to start off with my first issue. One, I like the formation of a scholarship committee. That's great. I think I'm having an issue with it coupling with golf, because when I think of scholarship, I'm thinking of education. And I think if we're going to form something like that, it should be something broken out towards education. Secondarily, the combining of partnership, that should be its own isolated resolution, because in the event Nunu, we no longer want to partner with them, what happens to the scholarship committee? So I would like to see the resolution broken up into two. This way we have a scholarship committee standing alone and what their purpose is. And then another resolution to have the partnership, as it's written here, with the scholarship committee of Nunu Foundation. Lastly, the last issue that I have with it as written is the fact that it says that that an inaugural Willingboro Township Council Committee will be comprised of the following individuals: Dr. Tiffany Worthy, Nat Anderson, Gary B. Laurie, Ron Timmons, Debbie Price, Aaron Davis, Pat Lindsay Harvey, and be it further, right? My issue with that is that goes against our bylaws that speaks to Chapter 16, Citizens' Access to Boards and Commissions. So if we're creating a committee, we have this Chapter 16 in order to create a fair process, whereby Chapter 16 speaks to on 16-1 of purpose. The purpose of Chapter 16 of our bylaws speaks to this. The purpose of this chapter is to foster openness of government and provide citizens with information concerning the various appointed municipal positions which exist within the Township of Willingboro, New Jersey. This chapter further provides for a procedure whereby citizens can indicate his or her desire to serve in a particular appointing position. Finally, this chapter provides for a notification process so that those who have indicated a desire to hold a position will be notified regarding this action. That's purpose. So if you're creating the committee and appointing who you want there, you've now gone against our own bylaws by not allowing the public of Willingboro, the citizens of Willingboro, to have the opportunity to know that the committee exists and have the opportunity to apply. It further goes into saying, filing applications. Any person interested in serving and appointing a municipal position shall file an application for each such position with the township clerk. I don't believe the township clerk received any applications because it never existed, because we're trying to vote on it today. So doing a little bit too much in one resolution, as you can see. And we want to make sure that we are governing ourselves by our own policies and our own bylaws. So with that said, love the idea of the scholarship committee. We need to work it out for a separate resolution and then do another resolution. I did look up Nunu. They do a lot of great work. Have no issue with that. I'm confused by the golf part that's added to this resolution. It's really, for me, as you can see, that's my questions and concerns. And recommendations to separate the resolutions. And for us to abide by our own bylaws.
Okay.
Madam
I'll let you
Mayor.
start, Deputy Anderson.
Madam
Deputy-
Mayor, let me begin. I'm going to go in reverse. So each of those individuals who have been identified did submit a form for the events parade committee. Okay, because this is where the golf comes up under. It comes up under that umbrella. So they did submit a form, which did go to the clerk, which we spoke about a couple of meetings ago when we identified them. You even took the list and was reaching out to them for meetings under the parades and events committee. We formed it under that umbrella, okay? So number two, the ideal of golf. The school district just did a golf tournament. The monies collected went to scholarships. They raised almost $10,000. That's where the idea came from. So what we said was, okay, let the township put on a golf tournament. The monies raised will be for scholarship. But the difference is, we as a municipality cannot collect the monies. So what we had to do was partner with a 501c3 entity, which is the New Foundation, to be a partner in order for them to take in the proceeds, distribute the proceeds, because that's a function the township cannot do. So everything was done in order. This is not the first time it's come to the table. We've already discussed it. You even received all the applications from the clerk, because members on that committee reached out and said, hey, I don't want to do parades event. I just want to do the golf portion. And the reason it came up under there was because there was dollars in there for events. So this was an event. So there was seed monies already in there. In the event, we needed to put some forth before we started the fundraising process. So everything was done above board.
Madam Mayor.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Deputy Mayor, for explaining your thoughts on the committees. So the Parade and Events is a committee on its own. No different than the Parade and Events is not the Youth Committee. They're two different committees. Several people have put in applications for those separate committees. The Scholarship Committee does not exist. The Parade Committee does exist. And yes, individuals put an application in for the Parade and Events Committee. And when they attended the meeting, we discussed parade and events, not golf, not a scholarship, because that's not what that committee is. You can't try to force people into a committee and then have them have their own agenda, which, by the way, according to our policies, okay, the agenda, I was going to get to that on the other topic. We can get there later. When it comes to the agenda of the committee, it's not the agenda of the council. So you cannot try to force in, I can get the information for you in just a second. Here is ordinance 2016-5, okay? This is our bylaws that speaks to establishing board, committees, and commissions bylaws, not to contradict the township ordinance resolutions and statutory establishments. The board, committees, and commissions regarding of their structure. And that paragraph right there reads, do not try to intervene with the way the board or committee or commission exists. Furthermore, okay, it says here, naming of committees or commissions. This is what you tried to do today. You tried to name, well, not try, you're doing. You're naming a committee, scholarship committee, which does not exist. And I keep saying that because it does not exist. Does the Parade and Events Committee exist? Yes, it does. Anybody disagree? Keep your hand down. Okay, it exists. Right, pay attention. You following me? Okay. Naming of the committee or commission. Township boards, committees, and commissions are identified and established as directed by ordinance or resolution of council. All municipal boards, committees, and commissioners, except quasi-autonomous boards, such as the library board, the Willingboro, I'm sorry, are we having a separate discussion? I just want to make sure I'm following what do you have a question? Do you have a question about what I was saying or no? Okay, I couldn't hear myself. Okay. Willingboro Utilities Authority shall be governed in accordance with these uniform bylaws. Where the ordinance or resolution established by the board, committee, and commissions conflicts with these bylaws or original establishments. Purpose of the board, committee, and commissions. The purpose of the board, and this is the part for you, Deputy Mayor, the purpose of the board, committee, or commission shall be determined as it is established by the ordinance or resolution, which is where I was speaking of. All the committees that are established, they have their own, their purpose, their mission, it's separate. So the Parade and Events has their own purpose. And it's not a purpose of putting on golf tournaments or raising money for scholarship. It's a different purpose. That's what I was saying. This resolution is convoluted with too many different avenues. Some great ideas. I'm not against the scholarship committee. I'm not against the golf outing, but we have to do it according to our own governing bylaws, okay? It goes into here, members, okay? In absence of any ordinance or resolution providing direction to the contrary, the township board, committee, or commission members shall be appointed by the mayor and subjected to approval by the council.
Therefore, there is a process of how you appoint members to the established committee. This committee, again, does not exist. Voting. It's right here. Letter A. A duly appointed board, committee, or commission members presented shall be authorized to vote in all matters coming before it. Goes back to the parade of the Veterans Day parade, which I was stopped. The committee was stopped because Mr. Harris, I guess, didn't see this part. I'll read it again. Voting. All duly appointed board, committee, or commission members presented shall be authorized to vote in which ones? All coming before us, all matters coming before them. Any agenda that they have put together, they can vote on it. It doesn't say the council now takes the vote.
Council,
Okay.
Councilwoman Perone, just
We want to get
keep it-
that
wait,
later?
wait. No,
Get to
listen,
that part
let's
later?
keep it to.
Okay, because I have a lot here. I mean,
2024.
they put a lot on me on this agenda here. But, so we can get to that later. I'm gonna read the rest of what it says. But I just want us to govern ourselves accordingly. And how do we govern ourselves? By our own policies and our own bylaws. All I'm asking is that we all follow those procedures and not try to force and change things according to our own purposes. It's great that the school district found a great idea how to raise money. I'm okay with it. But you know what? Let's do it the right way. So what I'm saying with this resolution 224, because we didn't get to the other resolutions.
We're talking about 224.
Right, 224, it goes against our bylaws. So it's too much in one. So are you okay with at least separating it? And then the scholarship committee has its own, whatever its purpose is. And then you know what? Those individuals who, guess what? They only came to one meeting. And when they realized that we had a whole plan of all the events that were taking place, they never came back. So it also speaks to, again, to our ordinances, if they miss 3 meetings, they're no longer part of that committee, which, by the way, they did miss 3 other meetings. So they're actually no longer part of the parade and events committee, but I'll read that later. But I'm just talking about as far as right now, it goes against, and maybe the solicitor can take a look, but this goes against our policies as far as our bylaws. And I just read to you what it says. It's too much in one. And you have to give a fair opportunity for people to apply to the scholarship committee, not to the parade and events committee.
Mr. Harris, would you like to weigh in on how we formed this thing?
I don't care. No, Mr. Harris, this is not a Mr. Harris
Something for
comment
this,
right now.
we did vote on
Because
the
he's-
parade defense, but to Councilwoman Perone's point, is this in line with what we, as a council, as a full governing body, did agree to? I just want to make sure this resolution is in alignment with,
Our bylaws, it's on I can tell you what it's chapter 16, citizens access boards and commissions. That's one issue with it. Number 2, the scholarship committee doesn't exist. It never existed. So let's make it exist. Let's just do it the right way. Create it, make sure it's a committee and its purpose. So this way we're doing things the right way. And then whoever is on this, Dr. Tiffany Worthy, everybody, whoever's on here, apply to the scholarship committee. Don't apply to the parades and events if you really didn't want to be a part of the parades and events, because honestly, it insults me. I thought you really wanted to help me put on a parade, by the way.
all right, Councilwoman Perone.
So I'm just
we'll
saying,
go to,
but, but it's okay. I tried to trick me with the whole scholarship thing, but that's all I'm saying. It doesn't exist.
If there's additional background on the applications, I don't have full picture on that, so I would look at
right,
that
so
material.
the people that Councilwoman Perone stated did fill out an application and were approved by the full council for the parades and
Parade and
events
event.
committee.
Yes.
And I can also double check the section that Councilwoman Perone is citing. I did review it initially, as far as the exact formation, where there was a citation of unless there's a contrary resolution, which arguably this could fall under.
I'm
So
gonna
if
need you
you-
to write that down because,
Resolution approving the township form a scholarship committee.
the council can, the township can create committees. That's how all the other committees existed. But you have to create it and now it's established. And then you post it. Whoever wants to apply, because I'm pretty sure it was never posted anywhere that the scholarship committee is looking for, it was approved on this date and now you can apply. Because the people applied to the parade and events committee. You know what I mean? It's different. That's all, just separate it and then, that's one, and I did have another question here But I think that's the biggest part of
So
this
if that's the
issue.
biggest part, then we
It
just have to
is.
review that portion of it, you know, considering part of the parades and events committee. And, okay, okay.
One other thing, since you're gonna look into it, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, the other question I was gonna ask, it says it seeks to co-host the event in conjunction with NUNU. So, and I think I heard you talk about scholarships. When you look into it, can you just also specify if there gonna be any funding that comes from the township budget? This way we understand that it's some committees do receive, like the Parade and Events Committee, they receive monies per year. So if this is a committee that you're gonna put, and if you can, actually have the solicitor look into if this committee can be a committee, especially because it's gonna be a scholarship committee, if they can receive some funding towards it. Because when you say co-host, what do you mean? Are you providing the building? Are you providing police services for events? Are you providing monies to purchase music, food? So when you say co-host, I would like for that to be more elaborate as far as what does co-host look like when it comes to the scholarship committee? That's the last thing that I have with that one.
So you have anything else you want to add? Is this something that can be tabled and we can kind of,
I'm in favor of tabling, have the
Yeah.
solicitor look at it.
yeah,
And if we need to tweak it,
Yeah.
we can tweak it.
Okay, it needs a whole, okay, let me just be very clear.
Let- Right.
Okay, so Miss Maggie, just so I know, I spoke about a lot, so just to keep simplified, my biggest concern is that the committee doesn't exist. The committee of itself, scholarship committee, and what does that look like in order for us to create a committee?
would you mind just sending that in the email?
Yeah, I do have notes and I will follow up with you for the interest of time.
Okay, and
We're approaching 10
And
o'clock.
also follow up with an email, our
Okay.
concerns.
Will do, thank
Right.
you, thank you. So now do we have to vote to table it? or is it
Yes.
just- Okay.
Make a motion to, go ahead.
Withdraw his,
You gonna withdraw your,
second in her motion.
withdraw your second?
I withdraw my second.
I withdraw my motion. So motion to table? Do we have to
Yes.
do that? Motion to table, 224, until, do we have enough time for next council meeting? How much time do you need?
Yeah, I can prepare it for October 15th.
You sure? Okay.
So table to October 15th.
Okay, table to October 15th, at our next council meeting.
Second. Did you moved it, right?
Mhm.
Second, moved by council, go ahead.
I'm just taking the notes. So it was motioned by
Councilwoman Perone,
Prone.
seconded by Mayor McIntosh.
Okay.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Prone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Whitfield,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dr. Worthy.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor McIntosh.
Yes. Resolution 2024-240.
Madam Mayor, make a motion that we table resolution 2024-240 until October 15th.
Second?
Until 10:15.
Moved by Dr. Worthy, seconded by Councilwoman Perone. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Perone,
Yes.
Councilwoman Whitfield,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dr. Worthy,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor McIntosh.
Yes. All right. 2024-241.
We need a motion.
Motion? So moved? Whatever you need.
Second.
Oh, second. sorry.
Moved by Councilwoman Perone, seconded by Dr. Worthy. Any discussion?
And the motion was to table it.
No.
No, this is just a motion. We opened it up.
So, do you want discussion?
Yes.
Okay. This is regarding moving the library. So I find that this is probably a resolution that also should probably be tabled. I know it's, actually it's separate. This is separate because you want to move the library regardless if we go to
Right.
the county, it would still be there. I think I've already spoken on this
Okay.
topic already.
Any other discussion? Okay, roll call, please. We already had public comment on it. Correct.
That's not now. That's
Huh?
later.
You want to take?
No, I'm saying, no, the 4-minute conversation.
Yeah,
is
but it's
later.
still, if we vote on it, they can still talk about it, but it's already voted on, so that's the.
Right. I'm
Okay,
saying right.
okay, we got it. You know, we can't speak from the audience. Okay,
They can still talk about it at the end.
I know, but if we vote on it, then it's a null conversation.
So you want,
All right, we'll withhold it till the,
end of-
after,
okay.
yes, so we'll do that. All right, so we'll just take that off the table for right now.
Okay.
So I withdraw my second.
Withdraw.
I withdraw the first.
Okay,
The hold to end.
motion, thank you.
Hold till end.
All right, 2024-250.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Councilwoman Perone, seconded by Mayor McIntosh. Discussion, please.
Yes, so this resolution has to do with the SOPs, standard operating procedures, which I had asked for us to be able to create. This way we can operate efficiently as a committee or board and so forth. So Mr. Laurie and I have been working on populating what it reads. We have a disagreement on the verbiage. And so my issue is, although we've come a long way, we've put a lot in here, there's language in here that goes against our bylaws and our ordinances as well. And one speaking on council liaison. The council liaison, it says here, the designated council member will serve as a liaison between the council and the committee. The council member will coordinate and communicate formal event plans, requests to the governing body on behalf of the committee to be approved. So Mr. Laurie took that to believe that the council needs to vote on whether or not we have events. So I want to go back to the same document of ordinance 2016-5. And I read already the purpose of this, which is our bylaws, and it has to do with our boards, committee, and commissions. Okay, I read it earlier before. Voting. A duly appointed board, committee, or commission member present shall be authorized to vote on all matters coming before it, right? It says here, A, one person, one vote, okay? B, unless otherwise authorized, these bylaws do not provide a virtual or proxy voting. So you have to be present to vote. So you can't write a letter, I'm gonna vote this ahead of time. That's what that means, in case you didn't know, or for the public. Election of officers, okay? The people appointed to these committees, I know we've been voted on these seats by the community, but guess what? When we appoint people to these commissions and these seats, they are also officers. They are no less or more important than we are. Okay, we have different roles and responsibilities, and respecting the fact that the citizens have put their name in and their time towards doing whatever it is that they put their time into do it, I think we owe them that respect. So it says here, election of officers. Number 4, A, the commission or committee members may elect a chairperson, vice chairperson, and secretary. B, election of officers shall be nominated of committee members, not the township council. I'm going to continue reading. C, election shall occur during the first meeting of each year. You see how they're governed, how we are governed? January 1st, we select our officers. You're going to see, when you read this, nowhere does it say the township council now steps in and decides to tell them what to do, right? Okay. D, officers shall be elected by a simple majority vote. E, the officers shall serve for the term of 1 year. The officers may be reelected for up to 2 years. Mr. Harris, I'm hoping that you're listening because you gave us the most hard time, okay? Yes, I'm calling on you because I feel like you back sleeping over there. I want you to, because I don't want to go over this ever again.
Councilwoman
I'm just
Perone.
saying, officers, the officers shall call regular meetings. Number 2, create an agenda with the committee and commission's input. So it's committee or commission's input. Number 3, distribute agenda and minutes, draft minutes to the previous meeting electronically of the committee or commission members, no less than 5 calendar days. They are speaking of to themselves, not to the council. Number 4, preside over meetings, not the township council meeting, their own meetings, okay? In absence of the chair, who is the chair? Not the mayor, the chair of that committee. The vice chair shall preside over meetings. Number 5, provide reports or minutes to the township clerk. That would be Mr. Everett. 6, the chair may act as a committee or commission's spokesperson, which means that person can speak to the township manager, okay?
as the liaison to the council, that would be me for the Parade and Events Committee, where no liaison is appointed. If I'm not appointed, then they can speak to the township manager directly. I want you to read that one again, Mr. Harris, later, okay? But that's number 6, because that speaks to, because he said he doesn't talk to the committee members. And I told him that that's not the case. He's not supposed to think that way, but here's it says it here. Number 7, verify the committee's web postings are accurate and up to date. That will be the public PR person, okay? 8, report upcoming openings of the committee to the township clerk. That means if somebody in the committee is no longer there, we have an opening, report it to who? The township clerk. That would be Mr. Everett. 9, share the committee relevant resolutions and ordinances passed by the council. That means if we create a committee like scholarship committee, we can say, hey guys, there's a new ordinance that exists and it affects us. Because guess what? They want to put the scholarship committee underneath the parades committee. Now we report that. That's what that sentence means, okay? 11, the council may assign a chair duties as needed, okay? You can assign their duties, not tell them what to do. That means we don't sit here and vote on whether or not the township, the committee puts on a parade. Just so everybody knows, we're working really hard to put on a Veterans Day parade. We started in May. Township manager decided the council needs to vote on whether or not we have a parade. So that's why I'm going verbatim in frustration, because we had every opportunity, Mr. Lowry, and I'm hoping you're listening, since May. This could have been brought before us. The SOPs, we are no longer going to discuss that line. It comes out. It goes against our own ordinances. Okay, there's more in here. Please read it, because it says it here. The SOPs is just how we communicate, but we can't create your own laws because you want to. So all I ask, if you can communicate with the fire chief department, the police department, so we can lay out the street and make sure everybody's in their place. That was the liaison's job. And then I was supposed to come here to this council meeting. Hey guys, we've already established this. The parade and committees have met. We're putting on a Veterans Day parade. This is the day. Okay, and we talked about this already in 2022, right? Yes, and it also speaks about, here's another thing about this SOP that I know I didn't put there. It must have been Mr. Lowry. It says here, volunteers. This has got to come out. Okay, township employees. Employees may not volunteer in any capacity directly related to their job functions. Really? So if you're good at drawing pictures, you should not be assigned to create a flyer? Come on, let's just stop, okay? Because the committee, honestly, they worked really hard. And this SOP, which is Ordinance 250, against our, Resolution 250 goes against our ordinance. So we need to table this too and really look at it and compare it to our
We'll
ordinance.
have discussion from other council members and Mr. Harris, if you would like to, I know, because we went through this aligns with, our ordinances.
It's right here.
I'll just let him speak.
Mhm.
We'll allow your explanation and our understanding, because I have the same understanding that the council liaison does act.
Yeah.
She's a designated council member,
Mhm.
but you also report back to the council. I mean, that's.
Yeah, just let me know
Okay,
which
so
line.
I'm gonna let Mr.
Okay,
Harris.
and I'll read it here so he can, whatever he says, I'll pull it back up. Go ahead. What does the liaison do?
Well,
Go ahead, Mr.
so
Harris.
you want me to answer your questions or do you want me
Yeah,
to
the
give?
question is, in terms of the council liaison, because I think that's the one of the main points of contention, and how that aligns with our
Ordinance 216.
Miss-
No, I'm just
Ms.
going to
Cologne.
say it so he knows,
So
216-5.
the liaison serves as the communication piece between the governing body and the committee.
Ordinance 216-5. Please identify to me, where does that say? I don't see it here. 216-5. Where does it say that?
I don't know that it does say
It
that.
doesn't. It really doesn't, Mr. Harris. You can't create what you want. It's right here.
I'm not
It's
gonna say
right
he's
here.
creating what you want. I'm
It
just
was
saying-
created in April. It was approved April 2016. He wants to create, you see how he says it, he doesn't know where it says it, because it doesn't. Pull it up on your phone.
That's not what I'm saying, Councilwoman. I'm saying the purpose of a liaison. And
Oh.
if you go and look what the definition of a liaison is the person that communicates between one organization and another. So you are the conduit between the conduit, the communication piece between the committee and the council.
Yes.
Committees are creatures of the governing body. They do not exist out of their own realm. They are created, they are purposed, they are disbanded at the will of the council. So the committee is established. There is a liaison that speaks to the committee on the behalf of the council. There is that same liaison comes back to the council with what it is that they propose. Committees are designed to be guidance advisory boards to the council, not dictate the operations of the administration.
Mr. Harris, it's clearly evident that you want to create your own ordinance.
I do not.
Because one already exists and it doesn't say any of that. All due respect, Madam Mayor, I'm only asking that we go by our own ordinances, our own bylaws, because that's why they exist. I know you're new, Mr. Harris. Meaning like you were not here in 2016, which is when it was established.
I don't know what you.
And,
Mr. Deputy.
I can even read to you who voted for it. Mayor Anderson voted yes. Deputy Mayor Walker voted yes. I'm just saying, these documents exist. So this way you can't say, look up a dictionary. I'm not gonna look up a dictionary because we took words from a dictionary and created our own ordinance.
Well,
And this is
Councilwoman,
what
with
we
all
go
due
by.
respect, you were the one that asked me to establish SOPs for the boards and commissions. Okay, so when I asked you what it was that you wanted in that, you did not offer anything. So we put together something, we presented to you, and it was flatly rejected, not comprehensive enough.
No.
So we sat down and went to the table and included you in the conversation. We included you in the conversation to establish the SOP, which was crafted, which was presented to you, which was brought back to Mr. Laurie, who was designated from my office to work with you to establish this SOP. And when it was presented, that you wanted to put together the parade, I don't have any objection to the parade. The only thing that I was saying is that the parade needs to be established or approved by the authority of the council, because the New Jersey statute, which is the law of the state of New Jersey, states that that this form of government works as a body, unilaterally collective as one unit. So that means that anything that the council decides has to be collectively agreed upon by the entire body, whether it's going to be a parade or whatever, as far as it comes from the authorities of the body, the council. Now, the committee advises the council. They can go ahead and set forth whatever plan is, but the committee does not operate to dictate to the body. The council does. And you, as an elected official, do have the authority to tell us what to do in preparation for which you have been doing. However, there has been no consensus from the body to have this parade. So you, as an elected official, as a council member, cannot sit there and say by yourself that we're going to have a parade and you're going to do this and you're going to do that and we're going to spend all this money without the consensus of the whole body. And you can oppose that as much as you want to, but that's what the law says. And as far as I'm concerned, that is what I'm going to adhere to. Now, if the body wants to collectively say, well, you know what, we don't want to follow the law, we want to do our own thing, then of course, you have the ability to do that. But then once again, you're going to have to collectively say, this is what we're going to do. Not one person individually has the authority to do that.
Right, and Mr. Harris, you're correct on some points. The council unilaterally or majority vote appoints the commissioners. We appoint the committee, the people to those committees based off of a process, like Chapter 16. There's a process. That's what we vote on.
Right.
Once these people exist for 1 year, and I didn't read the whole ordinance, but there's more in here, and you would be very surprised that it doesn't matter what President Biden or Trump say. This is our own, this is what we govern ourselves by, okay? And in this document, what you're saying is not the way it goes. It's not, we have to say, okay, we want to have a balloon party or we want to have a parade. The council, and it says here, it breaks it down very clearly on what
the committees and and this is not just about the parade committee, it's any committee or board or commission that we create. So I don't know what part, well,
Well,
if
we'll
anybody
let-
has
we'll let-
objection, please
yes.
read it here and let me know what you object with, because this is
Does
what
anybody else have any other discussion?
Well, I just want to see if anybody in the audience got any holy water to start with. Next, when this was put in place, that a representative for council would be assigned to different boards and commissions, it was for the purposes of communication.
Let's read
So
purpose.
whatever that board of communication wished to do,
Read
and at the end of the month, each report would be brought back through that liaison to council. At the end of the day, council is the one that appoints these liaisons.
I want you to read what it says. When you talk about purpose, it's a whole paragraph. It's
Let-
in bold and white. It's in black and white.
Let's do this. Let's do this.
So,
We've been in,
Purpose.
no, we've been in conversation long enough. Let's take it to a vote. Let's just take it to a
Let
vote.
me just ask, does anyone else have anything else to
So
say
the
about
issue
this one?
is with this,
Okay.
that it
Go ahead,
goes
Council-
against our own ordinances.
Councilwoman Perone, you've talked, let everybody else have their say also.
Mhm.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to reflect on Resolution 2016-122. That was the resolution to authorize the creation of a township parade committee. And at that time, that resolution, which still stands and governs the parade and events committee, it specifically states that it says, whereas the committee will act as an advisory board to the township council to plan, assist, and support parades and similar events. It goes on to say it's the intention of the Township Council to solicit and appoint individuals and representatives of community organizations to serve on the committee in accordance with Chapter 16 of the Code of the Township, and it talks about citizens' access to boards and commissions.
Right.
And then further on, it says, whereas all recommendations made to council must be made by a majority of the members of the committee, and council may develop additional guidelines and/or bylaws by which the committee will govern itself.
Can you read
And
that
I-
part again? The committee, the majority of
It's
who? The committee?
Resolution 2016,
No, the part about the
122.
committee?
You can see.
The majority of the committee. I don't have it in front of me. I'm just
Oh,
asking
okay.
you
So
the
what
part
I-
about the committee.
I'm not done. And so I think what's important here is that the understanding that members of the governing body had was that this resolution is how the Parade and Events Committee was still operating, that it wasn't like a commissioner on the WMUA. It's not a commissioner on a library board. There are different things that govern the Parade Committee where the residents and that council liaison are working to help bring forward things that council desires and wants to happen in the community. Not that we're trying to be restrictive, but we would not want the parade and event committee to obligate township funds and resources that are not in alignment with what we're trying to accomplish or that would overspend or overextend the township. And I think it's reasonable to expect some conversation between a board or committee rather with the council. I think it's very unrealistic to plan something over the duration of so many months and then 30 days out say, oh, by the way, this is what we're doing. And you just have to get behind it because this is what we're doing. There were no updates. There wasn't any communication. We've gone through this year over year. I'm not surprised that we're belaboring this point once again at this point in the year, because this continues to be an ongoing trend where the conversation could have just been, you could have just mentioned it previously. We could have talked about it. Nobody's against the parade. Nobody's against, the work that the body's doing. It's just a matter of communication and connection. That's all I have. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Hey, wait a minute. I just want to also just chime in that, even when we were talking about the SOPs
That's
over
what
the.
250 is about, SOP
Okay.
only. Mhm.
That's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
So the SOP, when we were crafting the SOP, there was a consensus among the majority of council that it would any events would come before the council. That was said on many occasions in the open public meeting, that was the intention. I do think it aligns with our, as I was reading, I do think it aligns with our ordinance, but I stand by that the liaison, should coordinate and communicate the plans and requests to the governing body for approval. Like I stand by, I definitely believe that. I think that was the consensus of the majority of council over this last year and year and a half when we were also talking about doing the SOP. So if anybody else has anything to say,
I would like to-
And I'll bring it back to you.
Okay.
I will bring it back to you, but Councilwoman Whitfield?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I am in support of the SOP and it supports what I thought the consensus of council was in the ordinance or in the ordinances and resolutions that establish the committees outside of the Library Commission and the MUA. The first line or the first two lines, of the document do say the purpose of this committee shall be to act as an advisory board to council. So it does not allow the committees to operate on their own and spend township funds. It has to be as an advisory board to be approved by council. And that was my understanding of the policy and procedure as dictated by our legislation. And that's the process that I think many of us have been following, proposing any idea, any event, bring it to the full body, get the approval of the governing body before the plans go into effect. And the committee moves further with their planning. I also am not opposed to doing a parade, but it does need to be approved by the body first.
Okay,
I'll let you-
thank you. So the ordinance or resolution that Councilman Worthy had read, it said it there, and I asked her to repeat it, where it spoke about the committee approving their events, okay? And in addition to, when it comes to the bylaws, ordinance 16-5, nobody here has read from there. Everybody spoke about their feelings and what they think a liaison is. I'm literally reading from the ordinance. The ordinance says it here, naming of the committee or commission, okay, and I'll just read this one sentence, not the entire thing. All municipal boards, committees, and commissions, except quasi-autonomous boards such as the library board. I'm not talking about the library board, such as the Willingboro Municipality Utilities. I'm not speaking about that. And it says it here. This document does not speak about those boards. So the fact that Councilman Worthy is bringing up as an example clearly means you did not really study this document, okay? Because this document says not those boards, not the library board, but committees such as, I know Tiffany Worthy, if I'm speaking, why are you telling Mayor to interrupt me to stop what I'm speaking? Yes, you are, and that's rude. It's rude. It's rude.
Councilman
It's rude.
Malone, just
Okay,
continue. You have 1 minute. We're going to call the vote.
I'm about to be, I think I was very clear. No one here read from the ordinance, and the SOP, the SOP was my idea, created. All I'm saying is it should go along with our own bylaws. So this document goes against it. So all I'm saying is it does, because it says it here. If you compare it to, I'm not looking at Tiffany because she keeps like, Samantha Whitfield. It says it here, it goes against the bylaws, okay? Let me ask one question. Miss Maggie, did you review the SOP, this document?
I did not assist in putting it together. There was a
Okay.
brief review of it. My interjection on the distinction, if I recall correctly, and it may not be verbatim, what Councilwoman Dr. Worthy read was that the majority of an advisory committee can vote to see what comes back to council, and then council has to approve it. Advisory subcommittees are different from your library commission and your utilities authority because they do have some authority to take certain actions as opposed to the advisory committees.
Thank you for that. And also, and again, I didn't read all the entire ordinance, but another thing that it says in here, the ordinances whatever resolution we create for these committees, it cannot go against this ordinance. So that parade and events committee goes against this ordinance, okay? It does. So what I'm saying is if we could have Miss Maggie look at it, so this way we have a legal opinion on the ad hoc, the SOP for the ad hoc committees. And please, and I can put it in the email too, if the council doesn't want her to look at it, then, but I'm just
Look
saying.
at it regardless, but
perhaps
we can
look
call
at
the
it,
vote.
Ordinance 2016-5, for her to compare it
vote,
and review
please.
it.
Call the vote.
Okay,
And we're voting on.
Councilwoman.
We're going
Perone.
on accepting or accept yes or no, whether you want to go.
Councilwoman
Wait, I have a question. I'm sorry. I want to be clear what we're voting on. Are we
voting
going to
on
have her
250.
review it to see, so she
can still review it, but
She
we're
never
going to-
reviewed it. She said she never looked at it. She said she saw it, but you didn't review it as far as.
Councilwoman Perone.
Again, I'm trying to get clear on what we're voting on. Madam Mayor,
Resolution
please,
2024-250.
is it to amend it to
No, I
where?
didn't say, no, but did anybody make a motion to
That's
amend
not,
it?
so you don't want to amend
No,
it?
I'm saying, did anybody make a motion? There's no.
There's no motion. The motion on the floor is to vote for resolution 2024.
I'm making a motion to amend it for Miss Maggie to review it. Not amend it, I'm sorry, to pull it so Miss Maggie has opportunity to review it because she just said she did not review it. Comparison to our ordinance.
All right, is there a second?
We have both a motion and it's, oh, wait, oh, sorry.
That's what I was trying to get. If they don't want a second to
There's
have
no
Miss
second.
Maggie review it, then they
There's no
just don't
second.
want, then that's what I'm saying.
No, I'm
I
saying.
know you have
vote.
somewhere else to be. I'm just saying, I want to be clear on what
There
we're
you go
voting
with your
on.
narratives, they're
I'm
crazy.
absolutely, yep, and I'm okay. If you don't want Miss Maggie
call
to
the
review
vote,
it, then she
please.
doesn't.
Of course.
Yes.
Councilwoman Whitfield,
Yes.
Councilwoman Dr. Worthy,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Mayor McIntosh.
Yes.
And I never got the vote from Mrs. Perone.
No.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Resolution
And there's another one.
251.
Yes. So the two, okay. So
We
move.
need a motion for
No,
that.
So move.
Any seconds?
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Perone, seconded by Deputy Mayor Anderson. Discussion, please.
Discussion.
Yes,
So
Councilwoman Anderson,
this-
I'm sorry, Councilwoman Perone.
That's fine. So similar to the first, the initial ordinance that I discussed earlier with regards to the scholarship committee, I noticed that on here, and I think Deputy Mayor Anderson had read off those who have been appointed to this committee. Again, it goes against our own bylaws, which speaks to Chapter 16, citizens' access to boards and commissions. So this committee, it says resolution authorizing the Township of Willingboro to establish, which means it's never been created yet, an Arts Advisory Council. So therefore, if we're establishing it, to name people that already exist with the establishment, again, it is convoluted, and you need to establish it first, advertise it according to our own Chapter 16, okay? That's what needs to happen first. So I'm not sure, so that's my issue with this. The fact that people have been appointed and it was never advertised, it goes against our bylaws.
That's fair. Okay. And
But they don't.
they don't live here, so I mean.
It still has
but
to be
what's the full-
advertised.
What's the full?
Mr. Duckett, can you come up and speak to this, please?
No, he's not, he's.
No,
well,
we're forming it because it was his request. He's in charge of the theater.
Okay.
So he can give you the clear,
Okay,
precise,
so he can
the
come up
purpose of it.
Before he starts
Correct.
speaking, Mr. Duckett, I'm going to be very clear. What my concern is not the establishment of this resolution. My concern is the fact that you're appointing people and you've overlooked, again, what our bylaws say. Our bylaws say you cannot say, further resolve, we're going to appoint Ted Reed, no, why? Because we're voting to create it today. Once it's created, then we advertise, this committee now exists, or advisory council now exists, and then there's a process that we have on Chapter 16. So I'm not sure what he's going to say any addition to the process that we have. Once you create the resolution, then you go through the process of people applying to it. It's like creating a job, but you never posted it yet. Nobody knows Deputy Mayor number 3 exists because it never existed, and you put people in that position.
Can I help you out a little bit with this? The thought of the advisory council is that
And this
for
is not fair, because now he's speaking and nobody else in the audience was allowed to speak.
Well, we called him up.
For
purposely
clarification,
It
but
doesn't matter.
this was
People
his
wanted to
request.
clarify the library. So you guys are all out of order here. I'm serious. I'm very serious because this gentleman is here, okay? But
And
you are no
he's our
different.
professional.
I don't care.
He is our
He's not-
employee.
Than anybody, no.
He's a professional
He's-
consultant.
he is
He's
not-
a consultant.
He is a consultant. He is
Yes,
not
and
a councilman.
You yelling at, but
Okay, he is not a
consultant. Go ahead,
councilman.
proceed.
Okay? If you want to create, you have to have order. Madam Mayor, your job is
Proceed,
to
please.
create order. So now
The
you're telling
advisory
other people
council
they can't
Yes.
speak, but
was
he can
based
speak.
on the fact that when you have a performing arts center, anywhere, if you know New Jersey PAC or anywhere else, the only way that you will be able to get grants or any outside money from philanthropic groups is to have a nonprofit outside organization that money is funded to. If you guys, I'll give you an example. The township deals with TD Bank, is it? Your
I
bank.
really don't see how.
The only way to get Sponsorship
right.
money is to have a nonprofit organization that goes into their portal. The names that were put on there was first beginning to be arbitrary because of the level of those artists that spoke to it, so that we can have a level of people that can raise an amount of money for us, for the Performing Arts Center to ultimately be independent. So I understand your political conversation about it, but the success of the Performing Arts Center and being able to do it, putting it out for, now, there may be another way that we have to discuss doing it, but putting it out to the community to be on it, those people are not professional enough to bring in the dollars that this place can do and it deserves, as we and Ms. Bolden have talked about with raising money for the Jazz Festival. So these things have to have a nonprofit component to it to bring those monies in. Now, how that was set up and what we have to do to make it work, but it wasn't about naming these people on the board as it is. What it was that these were some of the most prominent names in the entertainment business that could help us generate funds. So it was a starting point about what wanted to be done by it. So this council has to be something that's independent, that's able to go out and be able to do it. There'll be some community members on it that can work with us on it, just as the young lady said about having a woman on it. I was throwing out names at the table that I have talked to since I've had this position that definitely want to be involved with us. So it's a fluid situation. Okay?
Thank you. And to Councilwoman's point, first, can we make sure that that is in alignment? We are creating this in alignment, legally. I just want to make sure
Listen.
that is done.
Obviously, there's no order here, because I guess we can just all
We
speak.
get to say,
No,
Councilwoman.
because I think what the issue is, Madam Mayor, seriously, one of the responsibilities is to maintain order.
And there was.
And honestly, no, it's not, because that gentleman
so
should
what is
not,
your point? We're
okay,
trying to get through this
again, if we're gonna talk
resolution. We
over
have
each
10
other,
o'clock- We have
right?
10 o'clock
Okay,
curfew.
no,
Let's
listen,
go.
Madam Mayor, honestly, seriously, he's here advertising for us to vote yes for it. That's all he said, at the end of the day.
But
What I'm
it's still
speaking
your
about
vote.
is
Just say
chapter
no.
16.
Say no.
Chapter
That's not the
16.
case. That's fine.
Chapter 16 speaks to creating a process of who we appoint.
Maggie, do you have anything for this?
You know what, listen,
Go ahead,
at the end of the day, you can call the question if you want. I really, because obviously there's no, call a question. Call a question.
Go ahead.
Call a question. No, we don't,
The mayor-
call the question.
So what I
Madam, no,
wanted
we
to,
don't, there's no order here. Call the question. No, just vote. Call the question.
Does anyone have holy water? That's the
Call the
question.
Call the question, because there's no order here.
Councilwoman.
No, call the question. Madam Mayor, let's go. You don't want order. You don't want order. You don't want us to speak at time when we're supposed to speak. You don't want to be governed by, right? The book? No, you want to create your own time. No, call the question.
Councilwoman Perone, you
No.
just spoke for 30 minutes
30
and
minutes?
nobody
As
else
far as
had
I'm
a chance
concerned,
to say
you're
anything.
not going based off of bylaws nor ordinances. You're completely going against our own policies, okay? So therefore, call the question. Robert's Rules of Order. I need to hear nothing else. You're out of order from the beginning. There is no order.
Councilwoman.
Call the question. Call the question. You are not, listen to me. You have no order here, Madam Mayor. You have lost order, okay? Call the question. Let's go. Let's vote. Vote. I don't want to hear anything from her. Vote. Madam Mayor, call the question. Call the question. You don't want order here. You don't want us to respect each other as individual members, right? Yeah, you don't want to go based off the bylaws. Go ahead. No, you've lost that already tonight, Madam Mayor. Maybe the next council meeting, you could try again. Try again next council meeting. Call the question. You don't want order here. You want me to respect your order, respect me too. Call the question.
the goal.
Call the question. That's it. There's no order here. You don't care about bylaws and ordinances. Well, we'll go to 10 o'clock. Call the question. Let's go. I do not need to hear from Worthy. She said enough of nothing. You want respect? Respect begets respect.
So you've lost it tonight. Let's try it again next council meeting. Call the question. Call the question. I don't care what, madam. She keeps telling me, go ahead, speak, go ahead, go ahead. No. You better get to the next topic. Call the question.
Goal of.
Call the question. Call the question. Call the question. I do not want to hear from you. I don't, no, there's no order here, so you're not going to continue order. I do not want to hear, I already called the question.
We're adjourned.
Robert's rule, yeah, adjourn, motion to adjourn. Thank you.
So move.
Second. Aye. Try next meeting. Oh, listen, if you start off out of order, you will end with out of order.